The beginning of the new year is always a great opportunity to sum up the last 12 months, brag about sales, reviews and such. And the online juggernaut that is Valve is no different, having recently released a list of top 100 games that were most often bought on Steam. Many titles on this list are a no-brainer, but some not so much, and can teach you a thing or two about the state of the industry. So without further ado, let's look at the list of the top 100 best-selling games of Steam in 2016. First things first, Steam, despite offering tons of games you can access instantly, doesn't have the rights to some of the biggest blockbuster titles that were released in 2016. And so, you won't find games such as EA's FIFA or Battlefield 1 on Valve's virtual store shelves, because those can be seen on EA's Origin platform. Steam's best-selling games ranking is divided into 4 categories based on sales benchmarks. The categories are as follow: Platinum, Gold, Silver and Bronze. So, for example, games from the consecutive categories sold worse than those in Platinum. However, when you look at the categories themselves, the games in a certain category are listed at random without being compared. Steam's sales list, despite having some no-brainers on them, can be quite heartwarming, as they are a living example that sometimes you don't need a blockbuster budget or an extensive marketing campaign to win over the hearts of gamers. In the Bronze category, for example, next to AAA shooters like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare or mediocre action games based on popular anime like Dragon Ball Xenoverse, you have indie games such as RimWorld or 2015's Game of the Year Witcher 3. The sales categories at the same time aren't directly linked to a game's quality, showing that sometimes gamers will buy shitty games just to complain or because of the hype, as was the case with No Man's Sky. The Cosmic Sandbox from Hello Games, which was probably the biggest letdown of 2016, next to Mafia 3 that is, has over 81,000 negative reviews on Steam, yet it still managed to make its way into the Platinum category, and while the Steam sales of the game are pretty high, the PC version has an average score of 61 on Metacritic. The Platinum category also goes to show you what kind of trends rule the gaming world, and those are the trends that a big developer who wants to be successful needs to keep in mind. One of the biggest surprises in the Platinum category was the addition of the experimental Rocket League, and it seems as if the console and PC markets aren't that far apart when it comes to trends. The racing soccer game Hybrid started out on PS4's PS Plus games program and was free in the month of its release. The game's success quickly caught up to the so-called Master Race, despite costing €20, and as of now, it probably boasts being in the Platinum category. When we take a closer look at Steam's best-selling category, one more thing becomes quite obvious, that even old games sell well, and that esport is one of the foundations of PC gaming. Next to No Man's Sky and Witcher 3, we have games like Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Dota 2. An important thing to mention here is that Dota 2 is in fact a free-to-play release, and its place on the Platinum list is all due to microtransactions in the game. The Platinum category also features the likes of Fallout 4, XCOM 2, The New Civilization, Ubisoft's newest IP The Division, next to GTA 5, the much-anticipated Dark Souls 3, and Creative Assembly's Total War Warhammer. Moving forward, we have the Golden category, which further reinforces the notion that esports and free-to-play games are every PC gamer's bread and butter, or at least they seem to be. One of the first games we notice in the Gold category are Team Fortress 2, which came out nearly 10 years ago, or Warframe, yet another free-to-play title. Next to those, a huge surprise, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which came out in 2015 but was discounted the next year and had all of its DLC available. The Gold category also indicates that certain gamers choose a PC for a reason, because only there they can find niche titles from less popular genres, like the space strategy Stellaris or the indie gem Stardew Valley, which debuted exclusively on the PC. An interesting fact regarding the Gold category is that nearly half of those games were not initially released in 2016, with the Gold category further featuring titles like Ark Survival Evolved, which was previously in its alpha form, Arma 3 or Rainbow Six Siege. Next to the Gold category lies Silver, which has much more games released before 2016, like the ever-popular Skyrim or War Thunder. Some of the biggest releases of 2016 also found a spot in the Silver category, such as Deus Ex Mankind Divided or Ubisoft's Watch Dogs 2 or Far Cry Primal. It is essential to note here that games from Ubisoft's popular franchises are so low on Steam's sales chart because they are also available on Ubisoft's Uplay platform, supposedly taking some of the sales away from Steam. And so we end up where we started, in the bronze category, where next to the biggest blockbusters of the year like Dishonored 2 or the aforementioned Infinite Warfare, we have some smaller games that you probably even haven't heard of. And to be perfectly honest, we also need to take a game's state into account. Sure, alpha or beta stages of experimental and more ambitious games don't seem to trouble the PC crowd, but when something has the problems on par of those, let's say Dishonored 2, which had a really bad PC version, it will drastically impact the sales. It just goes to show you that a PC consumer is much more aware of what's going on in the gaming world and won't take a publisher's word for it, in comparison to an average console fan, that is. Next to the likes of Dishonored 2, the new Call of Duty, the greatly received episodic open-world Hitman or NBA 2K17, we have much lesser-known games that sold similarly well, such as YouTubers Live, Factorio, Endless Legends, Scrap Mechanic, Starbound, or Slime Rancher. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, I haven't even heard before about some of those titles. It might seem on the outside that the ambitious games have it tough and that the consumers still want games like Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty each and every year, choosing familiar and dumbed-down gameplay instead of titles that make you think or pose even a slightest challenge. But Steam's top 100 proves that that's simply not true. In the bronze category, we have games like Undertale that can sell as well as the biggest and most popular series. Just imagine if an indie movie grossed higher than a, let's say, Suicide Squad or a new Marvel flick. That's unimaginable. While such a thing is impossible in other media, on PC miracles can happen. While many titles on the Steam's 100 are easy to guess, some come as total surprises. Apart from that, Steam once again proves that a thought-out business model or discounts can do wonders to a game's sales. Many titles from different categories were still released in 2015 or even before that, but still outsold what the competition brought to the table. Most gamers don't seem to buy a pricey game on day one because it's not worth it, and instead wait for a discount or a good bundle. Steam also shows that some games, despite not being popular after the release, can start selling again after time. Look at the bronze category, for example. Both Dishonored 1 and Dishonored 2 sold similarly well, despite the original being 4 years old. Huge popularity of Steam marked the beginning of a new era for gaming, an era in which gamers have much more choice and much more influence on what is being released. Well, you never know, maybe some of the less popular or overlooked titles in 2016 will be some of the best sellers of 2017, if they get a good price tag or a good bundle, that is. Thanks for watching, and see you around.